All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today. We've got Mikey Renan, co-founder of Lumopath. I've known Mikey for a couple of years now, and we always have fun connecting on all things go-to-market, AI, data, people, customer success, leadership, all really fun topics. So very excited to have Mikey on today. We've got a few different topics to run through, but Mikey, give us a little introduction on what you're working on and what Lumopath is up to.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for the invite. And so a little bit of background on myself. I am a serial entrepreneur. This is my third company that I've been on the founding team of. And the kind of common thread across all of the companies has been using passive data to make smarter business decisions. The first company I was at was using foot traffic for advertising. Then we were using credit card data and foot traffic for competitive intelligence in the market research space. And Lumopath really came, this is the most near and dear problem that was actually solving something that I had experienced and solving a problem I had, which is exciting. I wanted to have better data in the position of CS and go-to-market leadership. I felt like when I was going into leadership meetings, coaching discussions, so whether it be upwards or downwards discussions within my organization, I did not feel like I had the right tooling and data to be as effective of a leader as I thought I could be. And having that expertise in using passive data for making smarter business decisions, I thought, you know what, I should be applying this to the issues that I'm facing as a manager. And I'll give you one example to bring it to life, because I think it kind of sheds a light on the frame of mind here. At my last company, we were scaling up, and we got to this phase when I was leading the sales and the CS team where my team was burning out. Like, they were telling me we are too overloaded to take on more clients. We don't have enough hours in the day. At the exact same time, I was having discussions with finance and our CEO, who was telling me that my team was overstaffed and we had too many people. And there were these completely contrary existences that just didn't speak to each other. And I had to make sense of it. I had to figure out how to navigate this. And upon reflection, what I came up with was, you know what, no one's being nefarious in this. It's not like anyone's lying. It's just people are making decisions off of incomplete data. The leadership team doesn't understand all of the work that goes into CS, that's invisible, hidden effort on the day-to-day. And likewise, the team that I'm managing, they don't have necessarily the data to express and quantify the challenges that they're having as a team. And it leads to these problems across management. That's one example, but there were so many different places that I thought if we just had a better way to access our data, we could lead a better organization. And that's really what I started doing when we built out Lumopath.
Yeah, and the hidden work, I think, is such an interesting point. And because most times, as you were describing, people subjectively are looking at their day. I'm feeling burnt out. I know how many customers I can handle. I know what my workload is like. If anybody looked at my calendar, it would be loaded. And then to your point, on the flip side, if somebody is on finance or in leadership and they're saying we're looking at numbers of how much ARR is being handled, say per CSM.
Yeah.
That's an objective way to start to look at things, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So how do you think about this concept of hidden work? And you and your co-founder think about what Lumopath can bring. And we don't necessarily need to talk only about Lumopath, but just
Yeah.
thinking about at a broader scope, this concept of hidden work. How does that come into your guys' strategy on a regular basis?
Yeah. Great question. So leaders are doing the best that they can, right? They're making decisions with the data that they have at their disposal. So when finance is saying everyone can handle $2 million book of business and that's what we're going to go off of, it's because that's the data that they have. They know how much revenue each client is generating, and the model is based off of that. The challenge is that not every dollar of revenue is created equally. Just as well as I do, every CSM, every client has their own nuances and intricacies that make it easier or harder to serve. And the cost to serve of your customers is way more complex than just a revenue number.
Mm.
I'll even push back on your point about, you could look at my calendar and you'd know I'm busy. Even when you do that, I just spoke with a customer like 2 days ago that we're going live with, and we were walking through their tech stack. They're using email, calendar, Slack, Ring Central. They're using Zendesk. They were using Asana. They were using Salesforce Service Cloud, Salesforce, Churn Zero. They have, for a relatively small team, nearly 10 tools that they're using. And so if you were to go in as a manager and look at someone's calendar and say, you know what, you're not having a lot of meetings, that's a tiny fraction of what's actually going into their day to day. There's the internal meetings that you're having to prep for your external meetings. There's the Slack conversations you're getting pulled into. There's all of the admin work that has nothing to do with your clients that you're being asked to do by leadership. And especially in CS, more than any other team, I'd say, everything goes down the hill and lands on their plate. And CSMs naturally want to help, want to solve problems. And so a lot of times they take on work that they're not even getting credit for. And at the end of the day, it's invisible. It is what we quantify. About 70% of what your team is doing is not captured in the standard day-to-day logging of activities that most teams utilize for understanding capacity and focus.
And there's a connection to what you're describing, which is, I mean, us in CS, the work that you're doing with sales leaders as well, it's always about revenue. So connecting the dots then to the work that's being done, is it being done in the right places for the right reasons, and is it resulting in revenue? I think that's where I've really been excited about what you guys are building, because the ability to tie back to revenue is what every leader needs to be able to do, to validate the work that their team is doing, validate the headcount, and to help the company grow. So it's not only about shining a light on work that's being done and making that more visible, but I think the connection that is really exciting is then saying, yes, we're doing that, and we're showing how that is impacting revenue, which has to be a story that everybody is thinking about, because that's why businesses exist. Is that how you're thinking about it as well, as kind of that the breadcrumbs back to revenue?
100%. Yeah. So many organizations, like, all they track is the lagging indicator, let's call it. So you might have NRR, or you might have retention percentage,
PR.
CSAT,
Yep.
whatever it might be. Yeah. And so, but the problem is, like, there's a lot of, if you think of a metric tree, there's that end metric of NRR, but what are all the inputs that drive NRR up, down, sideways? And so if you can understand every single piece of activity that the team is doing, and use AI and technology and solutions, whether it be ours or any other solution, to connect the dots between the various activities you're doing and the outcomes that you're trying to achieve, that's really where the magic happens. If you're not measuring what the team is doing, how the heck are you going to improve the actual outcome? That's my belief.
That makes a total sense. And it comes back to what we were saying before, of like subjective measurements and even objective measurements, like look at my calendar, do not tell the whole story. And so switching gears a little bit, so then that feels very data driven, which, if we're talking about AI, good data in means aha moments coming out, I would imagine, because I think the gift that AI is giving a lot of us is being able to ask the question, what if? And what if we could find this out? And what does this mean? And just be able to ask questions that normally we need to go knock on RevOps door, and can you build this dashboard? Can you build this report? And be constrained by resources or time or whatever on that side of things too. So if we've got good data going in, that means really interesting data, I think, coming out. How would you think about, how do you think about that side of things, the AI queryability and prompting and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And the way I think about it is, when you think of like the historical time and motion study that folks would do, like maybe quarterly or every 6 months, to understand, like, what's my team doing and how can we be better about where we're focusing our energy. Collecting information is like half the battle, if that. Connecting the dots between what do I do with this just dearth of data to turn it into an actual insight that makes a smarter decision, that is the magic. That's the immense power of AI right now. So if, as long as you have the right structured data that you're putting into a system, you don't now need to be a data analyst or a data scientist, and you don't even need to have a data scientist to get the answers that you need. So we are doing that internally. I'm analytical, but I'm by no means a data scientist. but I use the sort of kind of AI chat interface that you're alluding to as we're building out our organization.
Mm,
I have a head of CS. Her name's Kelsey. She's amazing. We've worked together for like 5 years, and uh, I've tasked her with getting our first 5 million without hiring anyone on the CS side
mm,
specifically, and that's not going to be possible if she just works harder. Like there's not enough hours in a day by any means. But what we're enabling with a solution like Lumopath is the ability to say, you know what? Hey, Lumopath, let's look at everything that we're doing. And this is what me and Kelsey do on a monthly basis. Take a look at every single thing that we're doing and tell us where there are inefficiencies. Tell us what we need to automate, offload, uh, eliminate altogether as tasks so that we can continue to scale and hit that goal that we've outlined.
mm,
And the magic of AI is the ability to say, here are really great recommendations. Here are specific examples. So it's not conceptual, it's
mm,
explicit. And here's the expected ROI you're going to gain. Here's how many hours you're going to save if you do this, that, or the other, because you can't do
mm.
them all. Let's prioritize based off of the which one gives you the biggest bang for the buck. And that ability to ask and get answers is magical and only available in the past couple of years with AI.
It's incredible, man. And then you could take it a step further and be like, okay, now let me build some agentic tools to do the things that it's suggesting, so I don't need to add a headcount there, and freeing up your individual person that you've got on that side to do the deep strategic level work. Because I can tell you as well, agentic tools and digital motions, those are all great, but decisions are made by humans still, and you need to have that human connection. So if you're going to stratify the work that a CSM is doing, or an AE is doing, or anybody on the go-to-market side, the human to human connection is extremely vital. But it does take the data to say, what else are we doing that can be either automated or agentically put together, or pushed to the back burner because we thought it's important, but it's not really. So that type of vision and structure is just tremendously exciting. I think for anybody that's in leadership who's been wanting to multiply teams' effectiveness, and it's not just about headcount, but it's about multiplication of effectiveness. And all we're trying to do is connect with customers in a way that is meaningful for them, that delivers value to them, and that ultimately results in positive ROI, so that a renewal and expansion is a no-brainer. And it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
that's the work that you guys are piecing together here, which is great. So, Mikey, let's wrap up here. Thinking about Lumopath, thinking about you, what's the best way to get in touch if people have more questions or want to ask your opinion on AI or data, or shining a light on hidden work?
Yeah, I always am game for a conversation. I won't hard sell you. I always, if there's a value that I can add to your company, let's talk. But I also am just love meeting people and having good discussions. You can email me personally is who I would suggest to email, Mikey at lumopath.ai. We can include that in the wherever you're going to put it. But
The show notes, of
yeah,
course, yes.
yeah, exactly. But I'm always game for a good conversation, and obviously that's how we met.
Cool. All right. Yes, I appreciate you reaching out to me for thoughts on this a long time ago, and all the conversations we've had since, and culminating here in recording this one. So thank you for joining. Thanks everybody for listening, and we look forward to having more conversations about the value of data, the value of AI, and how to keep pushing go-to-market forward.
Awesome. Thanks.